MaJaMa Jams is brought to you by Something's Wrong with Grandma.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
Welcome back, everyone, to MaJaMa Jams, a show where we discuss other people's work to avoid doing our own. Guys, thanks for tuning in, and make sure you slap the shit out of the like button, because honestly, we don't get a lot. Drop a comment, subscribe if you haven't, do something to feed that algorithm, because we're drowning in the void. I'm not saying it's your guys' fault, but I'm also kind of saying it's your guys' fault. Now, today, we are doing a movie of many titles. It is La Polizia Indaga il Crimine. No, it is Las Taxia Animalias. No, it is Night Eyes, Deadly Steely Vision. Mateo, what are the 16 different names of this thing?
The official title is Deadly Eyes.
Deadly Eyes.
But for some reason, the movie starts with Night Eyes.
Similar to the snafu of the title of Piranha 2, The Spawning.
Yes.
Which was Piranha 2, Flyover Problems, Piranha 2, The Spawning, Piranha 2, The Piranha-ing, and Piranha 2, We're Scared of Mr. Cameron. Why is he yelling? This is just a B movie. This is not art.
You understand what I mean?
I understand what you mean.
So, we have a movie today that was kind of half and half. We have mutant rats, both animatronic, actually pretty kick-ass, dachshunds dressed as rats, actually pretty adorable, and then the rest of the movie is a boring soap opera with romance, two romance plots.
Romance is
Yes.
really
that we really don't care about.
that word's doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Really don't care about.
Great.
They don't go anywhere, which we're going to get into because that's one of my biggest critiques of this. But Deadly Eyes, what is it about?
You should have
Corn
that in
grain.
your hand as you're talking.
It's not for film.
You said, Deadly Eyes, what is it about?
Yeah, then he'll cut.
You're already holding the paper in
already
your
hold
hand.
that.
Deadly Eyes, what is it about?
Let's wait till we stop talking.
Deadly Eyes, what is it about? It's about 90 minutes. Corn grain contaminated with steroids produces unusually large rats who switch their diet from cereals to the residents of Toronto. Paul, a college basketball coach, teams up with Kelly, a health inspector, to look for the source of the rat attacks. When they find the mutant rodent nest, they'll try to stop the opening of a new subway line to prevent a carnage. Like that?
Yeah.
You said you wanted it more.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot.
You've got it.
I like how rat attacks, it sounds like rat attack.
Rat attacks. So, one of the things I would like to touch on, since most of the movie is encompassed.
Don't. Oh,
Damn it.
Don't do it. Don't. It's not going to be any important. They're going to hang out.
Yep.
I told you. One of the things I'd like to talk about is said romantic subplots, because we spend a lot of time on them.
sad romantic subplot?
That too.
I'm sure it was.
One of our first lines, so it's like establishing, is our blonde student, who again, gun to the head, couldn't tell you her name. Life depended on it, couldn't tell you. He couldn't either, he's usually the one that knows. She talks about how she's into her professor.
Gotta make him forget he's a teacher by reminding him that he's a man.
We get established this right off the bat. And we spend so much time, so many scenes on her wanting her professor. And the culmination of it is she goes, oh, well,
I'm finished with older men. Too much hassle.
I guess he is too old. I'll get back with my boyfriend and we'll die in a movie theater. We spend all the time on that for that.
You think there would be a subplot of her and her friends figuring out half of the equation, and then the older crew of the teacher and the reporter, or whatever she is,
The inspector.
the inspector, figuring out the other half of the equation, and then their two paths collide at the end, and they use their shared knowledge to figure out how to destroy the rats.
Instead is I ruined his life. Okay.
It's a sitcom B plot where you could easily
Yes.
throw it away and it wouldn't change the episode
dude,
whatsoever.
no joke, on some cheap Degrassi type vibes, I was excited when I'm like, he's got the college student in his room and his new older lover's coming. This is probably going to be mildly fun, and then it's just like, okay, she's here. Okay, I'm going to take your son away, and I'll believe. You're going to, at least, if you're going to play this, at least make it juicy for a little bit. At least give me some soapy, like she screams or throwing stuff. It's a cat fight. So, you know what this reminds me of? And I know you thought the same thing. This directly reminds me of Transformers Age of...
Impossible.
Revenge of the Dino... Age of Extinction? What was the first one with the dinos? Because 3 battered me into submission. Mateo was out by the time 1 was barely done. I was pretty there for 2. By the time 3 battered me into submission, but then 4 said, we're going to have the Dinobots. And I was actually genuinely excited. The movie was such a slog that by the time those Dinobots arrived, I could not bring myself to care. Except I still remember there's a scene where the gravity's sucking it up and the Triceratop robot's cute foot is trying to hang onto the building, and that was cute. And I still visualize it. But it was sad. But reminds me of that here.
We don't have to yell, man. You don't have to yell. We're not announcing. This is not a theater. There aren't people watching us. We're right next to you. We're friends having a conversation with mics.
Rats.
Sorry, with rats.
A new strain of rat?
So, similarly, I think our rat animatronics are, wait for it, actually pretty kick-ass.
I think they're just puppets.
Whatever they are, I think they're pretty great.
Yeah.
They look pretty awesome. They work for what the vibe of this is. Like we talk about
What's the vibe?
Practical effects versus god-awful CGI. But once the theater massacre happens, which is pretty cool, I'm just like, this is cool, but you've just beaten me over the head with melodrama that goes nowhere. So it's the same thing where it's like, I think the Dinobots show up after 8 hours of whatever Michael Bay was doing. It's like, okay, they look really cool, they're dinosaur robots, but I'm out. And so similarly, when we're watching the theater finale, I'm like, this isn't bad, but I just don't care because you've just held my head into a sink, just drowning me, just have no breath left. I'm like, okay, now there's a finale.
There are movies like Carrie, which show you throughout the movie
Carrie's so good.
very little about her powers, but everything is...
Caroline. Sorry.
Trudy.
And a friend of mine put it very well. He was saying De Palma with Carrie, it's just like, it's the equivalent of somebody who invites you on his Lamborghini and then he goes 5 miles per hour and you know that at a certain point is gonna gun to but you're there with it throughout the whole thing. This one, to get to the apotheosis of the finale,
Which is Carrie-esque.
yeah, I mean, it's just like it's the huge explosion of everything. You're kind of like exhausted for everything that happens before, including Scatman Crothers talking about the professor's penis length.
Are you through?
No, I mean it. He was this big.
Constantly.
Constantly.
Yes, that sucker was this big.
He caught one glimpse. He won't shut up about it.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just always just very excited to tell you the length of it, you know?
Yes.
Like, he just...
And he is happy when he sees Bernie at the beginning.
Yeah, what the...
They set some corn on fire because they say that it's contaminated and probably is the reason. It's never really clear if that is the reason of the rats, but it's vaguely implied. And they set it on fire, and he is ecstatic that they're burning the...
Then he goes back again to look at the length of this dude's cock.
Yes.
This big.
So, for you super uber movie nerds out there, 2 little factoids. We once again get a shot of Scatman in a snowmobile surrounded by snow driving. Also like The Shining.
It's not a snowmobile.
Still driving something in the snow.
Okay.
More interestingly, Mateo says the author of the book that this was based on was actually vehemently displeased with it. I mean, why wouldn't he be? So that means this is the second movie that Scatman has been in that's an adaptation of a book in which the author was incredibly displeased, because we all know from the Mick Garris episode, which you should go and watch on this channel, that Stephen King absolutely despises Stanley Kubrick's version.
Yes.
And Stephen was glad when he had died. Actually showed up to the funeral to piss in his mouth, and people said, "Is that Stephen King pissing in the mouth of Kubrick?" And he said, "No!" And then he went back into a tiny hole.
It's step pen. Because
Step pen, forgive me.
Yeah.
Just like Scene Austin.
Why, without making a joke about feces, does the Scatman, he scats?
Yeah.
Okay.
Skabba-dabba-dee-bop!
Not like that, better, but yes.
That's where that's how he started?
Yeah.
Okay.
And as Matthew pointed out, once again, he's just kind of there and gone. As much as I love
I think that they had it for a day or something, so they just like...
As much as I love The Shining by Kubrick, it is genuinely weird that he makes it a plot point to have Dick leave his tropical paradise, trek back, and then 1 second into the mansion gets axed in the chest. I'm like, why?
They had to have the snowmobile.
Shut me up. Shut me up.
Why?
Shut me up.
Production value? Oh,
no,
so
so then they
escape.
can actually escape.
That was such a flawless answer. That's exactly why. Still, it's, well, actually, no. Mateo just dismantled the argument. That's still the snowmobile's there so they can escape. Man, just perfectly shut down.
I suppose you heard?
Oh, yes, I heard. I certainly heard.
So, we...
It's much more interesting the fact that they have a mountain hotel that shuts down when you would think that all the tourists would go to ski.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Well, I think it's a little too intense, the snow, right? It's a little...
Snow is never too intense.
If they can go and walk through the maze, no, it's not. But whatever. Anyways, we digress.
What the hell business is that of yours?
We now return to MaJaMa.
The Dutch Hand were almost blind in their costume, so in order to make them chase the actors, they would hide the meat in their pockets. Apparently that's what they did. So all the
It's
dogs...
pretty adorable.
Yes.
But
All right, everyone,
a
we gotta get these rat costume dachshunds to run after you. Everyone take a treat, put it in your pocket.
Although I shudder to think how they got those costumes to stay attached
look like
to
they
those
were,
dogs. How the...
They
how
look
would
like they're just like you would put a vest on a dog.
They say that it's just like...
They have a whole mask on them.
Apparently they had the mask and they couldn't see. That's why they had the meat to direct them. Because, and in fact, there is one scene where as they're going down the stairs, tells the old guy, this, I think is the second victim, or
the dude who topples over the stairwell.
Yes. One of the dogs that trips and falls, and you can see him. And
I think you've highlighted that in an
yes,
episode before.
yeah.
It was pretty adorable, and I'm going to say something Matthew's going to disagree with. It's not... Yes, you do kind of laugh, you can tell they're dogs, but it's not a horrible effect. And again, for the type of vibe and aesthetic here, it's not terrible. My question is, Mateo had laid out a couple movies for today's episode, and one of them we were proposing is Boa versus Python. So I was looking at the cover of those terrible CGI snakes, and I was like, look, why can't you ever give me Boa versus Python, and no matter how terrible it looks... Just make those CGI snakes on screen for 90 minutes, make me barely see a human. And me and Mateo talked about how no matter what level CGI is, it's kind of difficult to pull off or do interactions, which may be the culprit. But in this case, and I don't know, maybe it's like, dude, the same thing, the animatronic rats or puppets, whatever they cost, or we have to work around them. But if you lean heavily into things, I should say, pretty ballsy scene. We see a baby murdered by these things. We see a blood smear when she comes back.
It's not a cute baby, so it's not a great loss.
But I'm saying that's pretty ballsy, and I was actually excited for a second. You kill a baby, got a blood smear when she comes back to look, the baby's missing.
Killing babies excites you?
And the end theater scene.
Did you read his autobiography?
Oh,
It's
the title?
just me on the cover with
is Killing Baby. My life as a
That's your pro-choice
serial killer.
propaganda book?
Yeah, but a little later than the is an abortion
Way.
after yes, after the birth.
And the theater scene, which like I said is pretty great. If that had been wall to wall, I'd be like, whatever the flaws are, this is pretty great. I don't understand why no one has ever just done one of these things, and then why do we need these romance subplots?
Mr. Harris, I think I'm falling in love with you.
Now, sometimes they work. I was thinking when I was watching this, probably the best example ever of creature feature with humans you care about, best example ever, never to be beat is...
Empire of the Ants.
Jaws.
Oh. Yeah, well,
probably the best example
close in a
ever,
second.
because you could say a centerpiece of Jaws is the cabin
shark.
drunken scene. That's one of the only times I feel like you can be like, that's actual competition for the shark scenes.
Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed.
So why don't you just lean?
There is that. There is also Tremors. Which is also a very nice creature feature with a lot of creatures, which are all...
Wait, your question / argument is that the what?
Why, when you know what this is, why do you have 80 minutes of pointless romance? Just make it an orgy of rat killing.
Oh, but that's not what Jaws is.
No, I'm just saying Jaws is the best example of focusing on the characters more and you actually caring and actually working.
Oh, well, that
to
mean,
the point
I think
where
that goes against your argument where it can be done. And they're trying to do that here. Or they...
But why?
No, I mean it. He was this big.
You gotta have some sort of...
I haven't read
tether.
I haven't read the novel upon which this movie is based on, so I don't know how prominent the story is. But for instance, if you read Jaws, there's a whole in the book. There's politics. There's a whole affair that Hooper is having with Mrs. Brody. It's a whole thing that the two producers they say, let's strip all of that as make it an adventure movie. Still, they kept the characters, the core of the characters are the ones that are in the book.
Would you say the book is boring? A little bit?
Yes.
Or maybe unfortunately now compared to the movie?
Yes, of course. Now it's
Eventually just died.
Did it?
A few years back, but yes.
Yeah.
I read The Beast when I was a kid and enjoyed it.
Yeah, but because The Beast, you haven't seen it yet. I have The Beast.
Yeah, I remember the TV series.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not just going to sit here and do nothing.
What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, so what I'm saying, Matthew, perhaps I need to make a clarification that I'm viewing this now as a fodder for us to watch on a couch of a certain ilk. Maybe when it was being made, they were like, we want to shoot for a Jaws. But my point with Bo versus Python, stuff like that, where you know what it is, and again, Mateo broke down like, look, dude, even the shittiest CGI is going to be kind of a headache, no matter how bad it's going to look. But I just wish we could put on something like Boa versus Python that's like, we know why you're here. It's just endless, crappy creature action, and it's never been done.
I mean, the same way action scenes become exhausting at a certain point.
No. You're talking about the mechanics of trying to do a film. I'm perhaps cynically saying, and that's why I said perhaps this is the modern lens of looking at it through dudes on a couch watching it. But when you make these Asylum ones, or when you make stuff like that, can someone for once be like, and friggin' Adam Wingard, I love you for Godzilla vs. Kong, but I feel like GXK dropped the ball with what was promised.
That's what I was about to say. The last Godzilla vs. Kong was at a certain point. All right.
But I don't feel that it was actually as, because again, you probably haven't seen it since the theater. I went back a bunch of times. Eventually, after the fourth time, I was like, oh, here comes Act 2, where it's very heavy on expository dialogue when they're in the temple city. And after a bunch of times, I was like, now I'm like, oh, let me wait to get to the third act when it kicks up with monster action again. So I feel like I was lied to with the insane monster ratio. My point is that not for the mechanics of film, But when you know what you're making, can someone please be like, we got Casper Van Dien in Bo versus Python,
No.
and it is just, you got Bo versus Python with Casper Van Dien.
No.
Diem.
Bo versus Python with Dean Cain.
No. Casper Van Dien was in Python. Dean Cain was in Boa.
Damned!
And Andy the Talking Hedgehog.
You okay, Bob? You've got a funny look on your face.
I'm fine, Andy. I am just going insane.
Yes.
But we don't talk about that.
We don't.
But can you guys imagine?
Wait, isn't it Casper Van Diem?
Dean.
No.
Casper Van Dien Cain.
Casper Van Diem.
I guess what does it matter?
Dean.
Carpe
Diem.
Carpe Van Diem.
No, it's Dean. Dean. Casper Van Dien.
I don't think so. All right, what's your point? What are you saying? What are you getting at?
The episode has devolved into trying to pronounce Casper Van Diem's name.
I know everything there is to know about cockroaches, but I'm completely over my head in something like this.
What I'm saying is...
This was called Deadly Eyes?
Yes.
It's called Night Eyes. What I'm saying is...
Oh my God.
Why do these movies that no... And again, maybe perhaps at the time they're like, we're trying to make a movie.
Okay.
I want you to care about
They're trying to make a movie. Who's going to just
like,
put that much creature feature on the screen and put that much money into special effects or puppetry for an hour and a half of just straight animal attacks? Why would they make that? I mean, of course, we would, as a science experiment, sure.
No. My point is, and like I said, perhaps more for an Asylum Boa type Python movie as opposed to this, which maybe, like I said, the presentism, modern, now I'm looking at this as fodder for a show like this as opposed to they wanted to actually do a movie. But when you know you're going to be garbage, that they're just there for the creatures, why do not go in 1,000%? And in the scope of millions of movies, can I get one movie that is like this, and then you're like, wow, that was 90... I didn't have one frame where I didn't see the rat attacking someone. You're going to say that's not a movie. It's not a movie either. It sucks. So, it sucks. So, they also didn't do it. So, your argument is invalid, even though I know what you're saying, that they wanted to. It's like, it's trash. Lean into it.
I mean, you can do that and still have a story if you show that much monster action, but it's insanely hard and expensive.
And special effects are really expensive. Nothing takes you out of a movie faster than bad CGI.
It's mostly is the money thing.
I mean, they're trying to lie to you to get you to see the movie.
Also, remember that this movie is 43 years old now, I think.
No.
In 1982.
Yes.
So, for that time, it was already pretty sustained.
Honestly, compared to what we've watched, and it feels like lately we're watching a lot of garbage for some reason. This seems not...
No, I agree. I was thinking that after the past few ones, this has more of what you want in this type of watch with your buddies. I'm just...
This is, give or take, is done when MTV was in its infancy or even not born yet, maybe. I don't remember when it was. But so we weren't yet used to the frantic editing, the frantic content. So this one, there are several deaths. There is the old guy, there is Scatman Crothers, there is the cat at the beginning. There is the professor expert.
The baby.
The baby.
And the lady.
The sister of the baby.
Who wanted to turn down the softest music in history?
Give a break to a guy, let me have you.
Guys, could you turn it down, please?
Could you turn down that blaring music? I feel like dancing.
They start with a dude from the neighborhood who's complaining that they're blasting the music too loud, and the dude's like strumming on one of those old school carpet.
You kids, turn that Tom Petty down! I don't like that type of abrasive noise.
It's Bob Dylan. It
didn't even sound like there was a guitar in them.
No, there was not a guitar. He's playing a guitar.
Is there something I don't know about this little girl show? Give a break to a guy, let me have. Hey, what do you miss? Your parents are gonna be back.
Through air guitar. No, not even air guitar was
Gutenberg.
Not. Yes, exactly.
It's just...
So you do have...
Why did the rats take the baby's clothes off?
because it was after hours.
It was pretty late.
Yes, because they wanted to see if also he had a penis.
I'm pretty sure that was a boy cast as a girl.
All right, mutant rats, eyes up here. It's what we talked about. We're not just going to eat them. Strip them, rape them, eat them. Jesus, what are we doing here, guys? I know we're mutant rats, but what are we doing?
You don't know how a mutation works.
Bigger than normal?
Oh, come on. We now return to MaJaMa.
Wait, sorry. In the scenes where we see the dachshunds in the rat costumes, they have masks on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but like, does it cover their snout?
Yeah, that's why they were blind.
No, but
virtually.
it's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, they strap those things on tight.
And
yeah.
They gallop.
Like a rat's body and a rat's movement. Like the dog has the pronounced neck and just a different way of walking, galloping, where it's cute. And from a distance, it could be effective, but it just...
Boss, this footage is looking real cute, but I don't know if it's going to scare nobody. All right, just set up the gaffer, Jimmy. Jesus Christ.
Next time we're doing the Night of the Lepus, where the rabbits are... Just like...
That looks painful.
Yes. It's
well, I guess I bring all this up because it makes it feel inconsequential.
Well, we're supposed to talk about the movie, right?
Just because we spend so much time on those two women, on the plot with the two of them.
Yeah.
It's
yeah, but Mr. Harris.
You know what this is? Do you remember, random example, but do you remember Open Water 3, which I didn't actually hate it in that case, but do you remember Open Water 3 has the whole subplot about the brother cheating with the two?
Yeah.
I didn't mind that.
I didn't mind that either.
I mean,
but
I think it's done a lot in those horror tropes. Instantly make that love triangle.
Yeah.
And then have that kind of unfold as the horror.
I didn't mind it in there. I found it kind of interesting how Open Water 3 was not that bad. And again, has that great shot from the trail of the shark actually bites.
Wait, I know I like Open Water 3 a lot. They had very good shark attacks.
Yeah.
That looked really realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
2 sucked it.
2 is Adrift without sharks.
Yeah.
It's called Adrift?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they fall down a boat or they jump off of the boat and then there is no ladder to go back up, but the sharks are not nowhere to be found.
For those of you keeping notes at home, the iconic Open Water trilogy, best one number 1, worst one number 2, and kind of good is number 3. I was just going to that because it feels, well, again, maybe it's a bad example because I remember not minding it so much.
The Blue Sea.
Yes, it's just, we spend so much time on the love triangle for no result.
It's not even a triangle.
That's what I'm saying.
No. He's not even slightly interested or even
that's
tempted
the other thing.
To have sex to hook up with.
You think you at least play a little bit of torment of like, all right, she's hot, she's young, and then
willpower, Harris.
And he is divorced, but there is no resolution. I mean, he has his son who doesn't come into play except for at the end saying,
the book ending.
In love with trains.
Okay, that's what we didn't talk about. Now, granted, it's a slideshow, so there's a reason for it. We drop into a freeze frame that makes your brain go, what, did she just press play?
Despite our vaunted technology, there are 24 rats for every man, woman, and child alive today.
Like, it was such a jarring experience.
Yeah, it's not even a faded from black,
like
not
just
even
a frozen rat thing.
A credit, nothing. Nope. Just like, okay.
And then, similarly, blew my mind. Okay, granted, you get a little smile that the kid that loves to do trains helps his dad get on the train. They're getting away from it.
He loves to do trains.
What does that mean, son? Why does this toy train smell like poop? But then we cut to the people being massacred, and the rat goes like a freeze frame, and it just ends. Mm-hmm. And I know what you're saying. It's the classic, like, the monsters aren't dead, but there's usually not that much of a lack of resolution. It would be as if we're about to go, Carrie is about to go to the prom, everything, like, that just has unleashed a second ago. We go up on her face like this, and then it cuts.
No.
Well, that was a weird ending, dude.
They set fire to the rats, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we made it. We're home free." Oh my God, there's more. The classic problem we always talk about in a movie where you have multiples of animals or creatures. How could you ever tell if you got every single one?
It's kind of like set up because during one of the conversations with the professor, he says,
And you can never eliminate a rat population. You can only manage it.
I've worked with rats a long time. You can't eradicate them, but you can manage them. You, lunch break in 5 minutes. I don't want you to see you slacking off. Eat that lady's face.
No, it's...
I just ate her face. I'm not hungry for lunch.
I remember that, for instance, even Carrie had a final jump, but it was a dream. A jump scare that Amy Irving goes to the tomb of Carrie to visit. The very first time that I remember seeing a movie, or at least I heard because I couldn't see it when it came out to Italy, a movie that with an ending, no ending, it was the first Halloween. He shoots the shape, he goes, he's no longer there. It was kind of like repeated in Friday the 13th. The first time that I did see it in the theaters, it was a movie, I think it was called The Witch's House or something like that.
It's over. The witch is dead, Mary. She's gone. We're safe.
You would have been if the witch had been home. I will not die! You can't kill me!
Probably there's a hand coming out from a lake or something like that.
She owns 2 houses.
Yeah.
A summer home.
So this one, this ending, not ending, was pretty new for this. I remember reading a review of, or an essay on Jaws.
Someone took the time. Oh.
No, on Jaws.
You're writing an essay on what?
About 10 years after it came out. So it was just like an analysis of the whole thing. That a lot of people say, oh, I would have expected from Spielberg to see maybe another fin at the end, just like to say, oh, there is another shark or something. That wasn't yet the time. You in the mid 70s, early 70s, you killed the monster, you killed the monster. That's it. The tension was released. The audience wanted to come out of the theaters happy. Even absurdly, The Exorcist, in theory, you cannot kill the devil, but there is a conclusion.
You can throw him down a flight of stairs.
You can throw him down a flight of stairs. It's mortal enemy.
Yes.
Thank God the priests are here. You're going to start your blessings and exorcism? Now I'm just going to fling this bitch down the stairs. What?
I'm sorry, you're living on the ground floor. Sorry. There is nothing we can do about it. Sorry.
Throw her up into the ceiling. We got a ceiling fan? We can
Not another ranch home.
That sucker was this big.
In all honesty, I feel like with the particular structure of this, I feel like we've covered most. Is there anything else?
They don't know anything what happened in the...
No, dude, this is what I'm saying, is that we spend our entire middle chunk, feels like the triangle, bookended by some pretty decent rat scenes, which is why...
What about the lady's nipple? What about when she's like... She gets mad at him for cheating on her, and she's like, oh, okay, well, I'll still take your son without even telling you I'm taking him out of your apartment to go down into the subway.
Hey, where you going?
I'll bring him back after the dedication.
At night?
At night.
Who does that? Like, I'm just going to grab your kid.
Well, if you're going to be bagging college students, I'm just going to take your son for a train ride. How about that?
When you say train ride, what?
There's a lady with the white hair who is...
Yeah.
She's completely absent during a party. No, it's just like it's a stupid, nonsensical, not even a love story because, again, nothing is resolved, punctuated by attacks of the rats. Here and there are some.
Yeah.
That's why I think
the ratio is not terrible.
No. There is
even for the time.
Yeah, there's
even for this time.
I did, especially with, like you said, coming off of the train of trash you've been watching. This wasn't bad.
Painful.
It's just.
It was awful, but it wasn't that bad.
What would you guys? What would you guys say if I said that the best?
I call you an idiot.
To ever do it in the history of the creature feature with the ratio, and the second one you may say is not exactly. Maybe you would say, but I feel like the best to ever achieve creature feature ratio in history is Alien and Jurassic Park. I feel like those movies are so excellently done that you get satiated with the creature. And Alien has like the creature on screen for a minute, but that is a masterpiece. And I feel like Jurassic Park, creature feature may not be the right title, but it is amazing the way you blend human and dino action.
I don't know about that.
I think those may
once
be...
again, just make us care about the characters.
Yeah.
You don't have to force a love story every time. But
would you agree?
Yeah.
A better example?
Yeah.
I think those
As I told you, Tremors, I think that is also up there.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. You just said... Actually, all those four, because I fell in love with Tremors after you showed me.
But I don't even think ratio even applies to that. It's a good balance.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I guess it just feels like we always come back to this
like when
question
the humans come on screen.
But you know what? You are right. I should say that I'm a little caught up on how much time we spend on the triangle, as I've said. But it's not terrible. It's definitely not terrible. And
no, it's terrible. It's just not as bad as the things we've been watching lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This big.
Well, should we express our feelings
I
by throwing
guess.
the
Absolutely.
Now that I think about it, I don't know how I want to judge this. Matthew, why don't you start? You're ready to fill this paper, digging right in.
I think this. I'm gonna go with 4. I didn't want to. It was fine.
I'm gonna see what Mateo does, and then base mine based on your guys rather than my own personal feeling.
I go with 4 because I'm always sad when a movie doesn't please the author of the intellectual property is based upon. But
how can it?
Yeah, it made me aware of the existence of BC cartoon. So
I want to watch cartoons.
I don't like you sitting there watching television all the time.
I see you discovered fire. It's about time, sweetheart.
Fire?
Oh, we didn't talk about that. There's a BC cartoon playing in the background, and we had no idea such a thing existed.
Yeah.
I'm going to mimic you guys because, as you say, I think it needs to take a point detracted for not being as bad as what we've been watching and some cool rat stuff, but...
There was some cool rat stuff.
Why did you spend so much time on Blondie and the other one? 4, matching my brother's vote. 4 for Jason, straight across. Not the best, not the worst. Kind of a middle ground based on, like I said, what we've been subjecting ourselves to. Thanks to Matthew. Thanks to Matthew. I thought it might be fun to do something that's not these.
MaJaMa.
Well, guys, thanks again for joining us on the couch here. Like I said in the beginning, please, if you've enjoyed it this far, even if you haven't, but you've watched this far, click the like. Hell, click the dislike. Make an angry comment. Do something. My God, what do we have to do?
I thought they got rid of the dislike
100.
button.
Then you can't view it unless you have
Still there.
premium.
But when we watch our the likingness, it says either 100% or 80%, which means that somebody voted thumbs down.
Oh.
But only us can watch it. I mean, if we have access to the secret channel.
So, from our couch to yours, until next time, a brand new episode. This has undeniably been a Jams.
Oh, now there's a snap too?
Snapping the thing. It's evolving every time.
It's funny and
Yes.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
Bayou-badou. 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 Bayou-badou.
Alright, people, this is the party scene, so try to have fun. You lady in the front with the silver hair, try to say something to act properly. Thank you.
Roll sound.
Rolling. Take one. And action. Cut. Lady with the silver hair, you're at party. Try to act properly. Thank you. Take two. And action. Cut. Lady with the silver hair, have you ever been to a party? Try to act naturally. Say something party related. Thank you. Take three. Action. Lady, do you know how to party? Thank you. Take four. Action. Cut, print.